Hello again, everybody. Welcome back. We are doing another sample section. This is where I try to whittle down that giant pile of Kindle samples that I have to no avail. It is very Sisyphean. Can you imagine me happy? Anyway, the sample that we have today is this one. It is Christopher Ruocchio, I think. Probably should have looked that up. His book, Empire of Silence, which sounds really cool. And the cover is really neat too, right? We got this guy with a sword. Because, space, we need swords in space. That is classic sci-fi. In front of a planet. Underneath the title, it says, Hero, Murderer, Sun Killer. There's only one way to find out. Cool. So, again, book, cover, judge, yada. It looks like it's going to be some sort of big, sprawling space opera kind of thing. I'm always up for big, sprawling space operas. So, yeah, why don't I take a look at it? Read through the sample, and I will come back and tell you what I think. All right? Be right back. Okay, there is a lot going on in this sample. And what I'm thinking as I read the sample is that the author is pulling from or sort of coming to meet a lot of really classic sort of big epic sci-fi tropes and ideas and techniques. And I am interested to see if this continues throughout the series, if this is something that I do continue to read. Or if he is able to sort of, from all of these ideas that he's kind of pulling from, that he can make something that is truly unique, which I really hope he can, because that's all I want from a new book, is something truly unique and interesting and special. So the first thing that kind of struck me was this opening page, which is this. You can see here. It has a script on it that I cannot read. I do not think it is a normal human script, but it might be. I don't know. But beneath it, it says, being the account of the Sun-Eater, Hadrian Marlowe, of the war between mankind and the Cilician, translated into classical English by Tor Paulos of Nov Belgaer on Colchis. So we're starting right away with this idea that the story you're about to read is epic. First of all, who gets called a Sun-Eater? That's amazing. I'm a Legion of Superheroes fan. I know what the Sun-Eater is. Sun-Eaters are bad, and they require poor, disfigured teenage boys to destroy. Apparently not this guy. But anyway, what that reminded me of was the very beginning of the Terra Ignota series by Ada Palmer. It's a book called Too Like the Lightning, which I'll probably read again, because I need to read it again, and review here at some point. But the conceit behind Terra Ignota is that what we are reading is kind of a memoir, in a sense, of our main character. And that kind of made me think of that. That doesn't mean that he's stealing anything. Of course not. That's ridiculous. There's been plenty of books that are framed as memoirs of something, but I'm always interested when we see a book that is framed as a memoir or a history of something, which I'm seeing more and more these days. It makes me wonder, all right, well, what is the now of the writing of this? What is the circumstances of the now? Why does the now of this require this book to be read? What is it that requires Tor Paulo to start writing this, or at least translating it? So, I mean, that's kind of one of the things I think about. I don't know if it'll be addressed. Maybe it will. The story starts, of course, with our main character, Hadrian. He comes across, it's one of the fun things to talk about with my students, is narrative voice. What does the voice of the narrator sound like? And Hadrian sounds extraordinarily self-important. He really does. As I'm reading this story, and I'm thinking like, oh, all right, well, aren't you special, Mr. Hadrian? And he thinks he's terribly important. Obviously, he becomes very important, certainly. But he hints at a vast history that cannot possibly be told in the short time that he has to tell us about. And then he kind of gets into his own story. And we have this wonderful, vast techno-future. We have all sorts of strange kind of, alien space cultures kind of clashing together. He is a royal son. He's actually, I think, if I remember correctly, he's the elder royal son. There's another son behind him. His father is this very distant and aloof noble. The mother barely comes into it in the sample anyway. She doesn't really show up for a while. It's all fathers and sons. And Hadrian is going to be passed over to kind of take over for his father in favor of his younger brother, which is never good. Nobody wants that. But really, there's a lot of Dune going on in this. I'm going to get right to the point. There's a lot of Dune happening in here. We have a royal son. We have him being trained in combat by a combat specialist. We have family atomics. We have shield belts, genetically engineered children. We've got something that looks like mentats, but they're called the Scolialists, which Hadrian wants to become a Scolialist. However, there is this brother conflict, which does not exist in Dune. There is no brother to Paul Atreides. So that is something different, right? The older one, Hadrian, who should be the successor, but he's not going to be because he's interested in books, and the younger Crispin, who is definitely going to be the favored one because everybody loves him. He goes out and does gladiatorial combat and stuff like that. So we got this very stratified aristocratic society. So far in the Kindle sample, it's kind of, the life of the young aristocrat, which there's nothing wrong with that. We can do that. And then the background of all of this is this 3-century-long war against something called Sicilian, or a culture called Sicilian. And the relationship, of course, between Hadrian and his father is just ice cold. And the narrator kind of feeds us lots of bits and pieces of things. Like, he's trying to tell us this story about his past, but he keeps pulling in things from the present, from the now of him telling the story, not the now of the story being written, to kind of draw these links. And that reminded me of Patrick Rothfuss, of his Name of the Wind, where that was a large part of that story, was the narrator narrating his own past and then occasionally linking it to what's happening in the present of the story. So it's a good read. Like I said, it is very, very Dune-like in a lot of ways, but not exactly Dune-like. So, all right, if you like Dune, this might be a work for you. I liked Dune. I read the first book. I read the second book. I'm not sure I'm really going to go by the third book, and I'm sure this will get me all the hate comments in the world. I'm not sure I'm going for Dune 3. But anyway, there's some nice character conflicts, room for growth. Again, I really like the voice of our main character. He is just arrogant and annoying, and I can't wait to see his knees get cut out from under him. But I don't think they're going to, because gets named Sun Eater, and he seems happy about that. And that kind of baffles me in a lot of ways. And yeah, I'm really interested in seeing how this kind of young, impulsive Hadrian that we see at the beginning of the story becomes the legendary 1,000-year-old Sun Eater. I don't know how that's going to happen. So would I read the rest of the book? Yeah, absolutely I would read the rest of the book. It looks like a lot of fun. Like I said, it's a genre of science fiction that I really like, this big, sprawling space fantasy. So yeah, give it a take. Now, if you have read this book, and you would like to offer your thoughts, please do. They're right down in the comments. You can do that while you're there. You can subscribe. You can hit the bell. You can do all the other things that you're supposed to do that I can't remember to tell you to do. I should have a sticky note on my computer or something. But thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it. Thank you for helping me whittle down my Kindle sample list. We'll do another one next time. Something completely different. Maybe. Who knows? It's all randomized. So thanks for coming by, and I will see you all next time.